Okay, the second guest in this show, Chris Peters, an old friend of mine. We've known each other for a number of years. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
And we're at Port Meadow in central Oxford, or stretches all the way to the Ring Road as well. But why I brought Chris on is he actually lives on the boundary of Port Meadow. What I want to explore, Chris, is what does that do to you as a person living on the doorstep of this 1,000+ years of nature unchanged?
Well, it isn't exactly unchanged, but it is quite an exceptional place to live. I remember when we first came here, and I'm no new person to Oxford, having a house in Cowley, off the Cowley Road. But what amazed us, or was very resonant for us, was this enormous space with the big sky. It reminded us of Africa. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing of realising that it really is a most extraordinary space in terms of its history, in terms of its flora, its fauna, and it's just one of those places that has actually survived. For example, nobody's ploughed here for 4,000 years. And because Alfred the Great, it said, granted the freemen, the big cheeses in Saxon times, grazing rights here for their fighting against the Danes, that has been one of the major things that has allowed this place to continue right the way through history. So it's an extraordinary place in that sense. And if you want to go back further, of course, just over there from where we're speaking now, you have Bronze Age barrows, you have the Iron Age settlement here.
For people who don't know, what are barrows?
Well, a barrow is basically where they buried the key people, and think of it as a circular grave and a mound. It's think of a flying saucer, like a 1950s sci-fi saucer. When you plonk that on the ground, and that gives you a barrow. And then, of course, the Iron Age here. And then, of course, if you go on further, you've got one of the defences for the English Civil War. And this place has also been a racecourse, a parade ground, and one of the earliest Royal Flying Corps airstrips. This is where they would teach young men to fly. And in fact, 15 of them obviously didn't learn very well because they were killed here. So you've got all that history, but also you've got an amazing fauna here.
So when you live next door to it, what is it that feeds into your thinking? Is it the history, or is it just the sheer space that it is now?
I think it's a number of things. I mean, what I find very compelling about this place is that basically they haven't got hold of it. I mean, it's never been enclosed. So what you're looking at here now has really, more or less, just continued and changed through history. But there's been very little man-made interference. But it's fabulous because also this is a site of special scientific interest. You've got 178 odd wild plants here. It's also a scheduled architectural monument as well. I think probably what it actually epitomizes for me is that it hasn't been developed, it hasn't been enclosed, they haven't made money out of it, whoever they may be. I think if you took all those various things off it, then they would drain some of this, they would then sell this off to a developer, and you get a lot of boxes.
Huge amounts of
yes,
money.
so I think that's nice.
Do you find living next door to this, you take it for granted, or do you have to make a conscious effort to?
Well, we can actually see part of this from where we live, from our balcony. So I suppose in a sense, yes, we do take it for granted that you've got this extraordinary, 400-acre site here as well. But I think it's that mixture of history, and of course you've got the Isis River just over there to your right, and you've got various Alice in Wonderland, for example. Then you've got Whiteham and Whiteham Wood, said to be the wild wood in Wind in the Willow. So for me, there's all sorts of resonances going on here. But I think the major point is this is a place where resistance has paid off. All through the centuries, there's been various people trying to take this away and close it, buy bits of it. And Wolvercote itself is very much one of those classic villages where you get the feeling, because of all the development around here, and I think that's another thing. I mean, we've got the Northern Gateway up there and other things over there. We've got the university buildings where they caused a terrific protest. So I think this is very much embodies the way that Wolvercote sees the world, which is basically leave us alone. And I quite like that.
What can you say to people who maybe are in a city somewhere and haven't got this on their doorstep? What would you say to people who are maybe watching that to make the effort to find a place like this? What would it bring to them?
Yes, I mean, I don't know. I mean, certainly I suppose if you're looking at London, for example, and that's where originally I came from, you've got Hampstead Heath. It's a very similar sort of place, and you've got various other commons and whatever. But I suppose what I'd say to people, come and explore here. If you can come by public transport, that would really help, because otherwise you cause congestion. But just enjoy it. And if it's a day like today, of course, you can also go wild swimming.
In the river?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes. There's been countless generations of Wolvercotean snotty kids who've jumped in the river, and that's something my daughter does as well. I don't think she's quite as snotty, or she wouldn't like me to say that.
But so psychologically, well, you used to live in Oxford, in Union Street, wasn't it?
Yes, so just off the Cowley Road.
How do you think
East Avenue?
Living in East Avenue, that's right. How do you think living in that environment and then living in this? How do you think you've changed? Do you think the land has changed you itself?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think I've always had a certain resonance, or landscape has always had a certain resonance for me. And so I suppose what is nice is you've got this all the time, because it's not only here, of course. You've got the Thames there, you've got the Thames Path that goes all the way down, so you can walk that or cycle on that into Oxford. You've got the canal over this side. So, but I've always had this wonderful sense of resonance of history, but also the sense of place. Certainly you get the feeling here, especially sort of early in the morning or late in the evening, when there are very few people here, that it is a very sort of magical place. But in terms of, do I go to these places more often? Yes, obviously, because I'm just round the corner.
So, you do walking tours in the city
I do,
centre.
for my sins now, yes.
Would you encourage tourists and people
Oh, God,
to
yes,
come here?
absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I used to do, I haven't done because the walking thing is taking up so much of my time, is actually do cycling tours as well here. So you go down through Jericho, up and round, along the Thames Path and down back into Oxford along the Oxford Canal. So that's another thing. In terms of actually taking people walking here, I, unless they are the type, it's quite, it doesn't have that immediacy. If they were very much people who felt they were in tune with the environment or wanted to be, that's a very different thing. But I've taken all sorts. I took a wonderful hen party on cycles. They were all doctors. It was about 20 female doctors, all right, who took most of their clothes off and just jumped in the river. And I sat there with a G&T thinking, this is fabulous. They're very nice people. They're great fun. They're educated. They're having a wonderful time. And hey, I'm getting paid for this. So, but they don't come along that often.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing your tale.
My pleasure, Stuart, as
how
ever.
I mean, I bring you on the radio as well.
Yes,
We've done
I
all
know
sorts
you
together.
do. I know
So
you do.
thanks for accepting my request.
No, well, thank you very much, and I hope I've given you some idea of what is one of the most, in my opinion, most magical spaces in England.
In England, not just Oxford.
No, I think in England as well. I mean, look at it. It's absolutely fabulous.
Apart from the A34.
Well, the A34, no, you see, the A34 is a metaphor because it's all that going on over there, right? Must do this, you're right. And you think it, but I've got this. So I can listen to all that and think I don't have to be a part of it. Not at this moment.
Yeah.
I can just look up at this, look at the sun and smell the grass and think, yes.
Well, there's a lesson for us all there, I think. Thanks, Chris.
My
and,
pleasure, Stuart, as ever.
We'll do it
I
again.
always like working with you. Yes, I'd love to do it again. Perhaps in town, where we can do some nature in town.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to like.
Okay, the end of that interview. We're on to our last interview of the day, and it will be a slightly unexpected one.